Howdy, Desert Boy here. Hey, today I've got a kind of a special treat for you. I'm going to talk about, I just did a video on the 38-357 Rossi and of course the 44 Mag one before that. But I'm going to talk about a tale of two different lever actions here, both in 38-357, and I'm going to share with you, my thoughts, my opinions, what works for me. You got to make your own decisions, talk to your own experts and stuff. Make sure you're in compliance with all your local, state, and federal, laws, ordinances, permitting, hunting regulations, and so forth. But I'm going to share with you about two different, they're not rifle, one's a rifle, one's a carbine, but two different 38-357s. So this is the R92 by Rossi that I did a video for recently, and it holds 10 rounds. Okay, and we'll just show that it's unloaded. And this, oh, by the way, as we're looking at the Henry, let's make sure it's unloaded. You can see there's no rounds in it. So we're all good. So let's return and move on with our video. Is the Henry 38-357 big boy carbine, of course with the brass finish and everything. And in my case, this is not part of the original Henry. These were things that I added afterwards with the pick rail. But normally, as you can see, it has the normal sight set up. So you can see this is a side ejector, but this is not the, I believe they have a newer model with the side gate loader. When I bought this, that was not available yet. Some nice things about it. So let's talk a little bit about why I bought this one to start with, because I had this one first. So for one thing, it's got a nice octagon barrel, makes it look very traditional, all right? It's got all this nice brass in it. It's got this large loop lever, which some people like. Even if you have gloved hands, it makes it possible to fit in there. It's just got all this nice brass all the way down to the, the butt plate, the American walnut wood, Now you notice that it's tube fed, right? So you load and unload it through here. Right, of course you can, and of course when you fire it, the rounds eject out the side here. One of the things about it being a side ejector that I talked about in the last video that I did on the Rossi is that allows you to put, a scope or other optics on top. Now this one is heavier than the Rossi. It's 7.76 pounds compared to 6.2 pounds. It's also got a more robust forestock and just general how it feels. It's got a 14-inch length of pole. It holds 7 rounds, okay? It'll shoot 38-357s. Originally, it has these buckhorn sights on it with this little white diamond, these semi-buckhorn sights, and a brass bead front sight, okay? It's all steel, barreled nicely blued steel. And of course, in this case, it's got that nice octagon look to it, make it look very, very frontier-like. And a couple of other things about it. Let's take a look here. My eyes aren't quite what they used to be. I think the overall length on it's 35 inches. It's kind of nice. It's kind of short. If you had it indoors, it's a little shorter than most lever action rifles. So, if you were using it maybe in a home defense role or something like that. It's 16.5 inch barrel and 1 in 16 twists with it. So I didn't pay this much for it, but Henry now suggested manufacturer's retail is like $11.24. I went into one of my local large chain sporting goods store, and I saw it sitting there, and I said, I got to have that. One of the things I like about things like 38-357 or maybe 44 mag, but especially 38-357 is if you have 38-357 handguns like a Ruger, Smith & Wesson, a Taurus, whatever that you have, you can kind of pair these up where you only have to carry one ammunition. Now, of course, hunting regulations vary, and you got to check with, federal, local, and state, firearms regulations, hunting regulations. But in some places you can hunt with handgun cartridges like 38-357, 44 mag, 45 Colt. So if you're out there and, you've got your 38-357 on as a sidearm, which I have a Smith & Wesson 686 plus, and you have this, then you only have to carry one ammunition. So that's, in my opinion, that's kind of handy. Or even if you were maybe doing that in a self-defense role, maybe semi-autos aren't for you, but you like having a nice revolver, and a 686 plus has 7 rounds and this has 7 rounds. And so that gives you, some level of additional capacity, I guess you could say, using these in combination. But so when I bought this, I just really wanted it because I thought, well, it looks cool. It's very Western-like. Fits in with the dual, the single caliber for dual weapons, handgun and long guns. And then the pandemic came along, and I'll be honest with you, other than my semi-auto handguns, I didn't have any semi-auto long guns. No carbines, no semi-auto pistols that were like a Scorpion or MP5 or something like that. Now, I do have a carbine Scorpion now that is one of my long guns. But so I said, well, what could I use in the interim, right? And a couple things that I did was I went and I experimented with putting this pick reel. Now, this is before the Henry X models started showing up and some of the other ones that Marlin had. It's just about that time, just before that. So I think this was like 2019 or something like that. Might have even been 2018. I'd have to look at my videos. And I went ahead and I got a basic TRS 25 red dot. I got the pick rail from Henry, and I got this UTG 3X magnifier, right? And it also swings out of the way in case you just want to use the red dot. And I also used this setup on my Henry 4570. It also has a pick rail on it, but it was just so that I had something that was a little more modern optically, maybe a little bit of magnification combined, along with having a shorter carbine inside, the house. So that's why I ended up getting this, and then I kind of made it into a purpose, kind of the purpose of home defense, and I've kind of kept it that way and thought, well, still having a red dot on there might make it interesting if I ever hunt with it. And then the magnification, my eyes are getting older, so that's helpful. So that's the story of the Henry, right? So how does that stack up weight-wise with the other one, or the purpose for this other one? Well, once again, I love a really nice R92 because they're lightweight. They're 6.2 pounds compared to 7.76. They're more slender. They come up to your, up to your shoulder nicely, very balanced. The open sights work fine for me. I don't have an issue, having the safety. It is for some people. And it was a side gate loader. I didn't want to get rid of this other one. I wasn't going to go get a new Henry with a side gate. Maybe someday I will. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy up. And this one was picked up from one of my FFLs, probably my favorite, FFL down there. They knew me, and they saw me come in and said, "Oh, look, I got this here." And of course, after that, then they told me about the, "Oh, look, we got the Henry 3030 side gate coming." I think I told you that story already. And then with the 44 mag, it was kind of like, "Oh, look, we have this one now too." So they knew me pretty well. So anyway, so this one here, I think, is a little easier for people at the range. It's a little lighter. It's open sights. And it's, I don't want to take my optics off of there. So this allows me to have the flexibility of both of these And since they're kind of different weights, the other one's heavier, and you'd say indoors, yeah, it's shorter and more maneuverable, going through rooms. And it's also heavier, it could provide a pretty good thump, I guess, if you were low on ammo and you needed to use it for self-defense physically. But that's kind of why I have these two different guns. This also has a 20-inch barrel, right, instead of a 16.5, so the velocity should be higher with most ammunitions going down it. It has a 10-round capacity, right, instead of a 7-round capacity. So that part's kind of nice. So they each have their own functions, right? But this one here is 37 inches long. Now, it's only a couple more inches long, but sometimes that kind of makes a difference when you're trying to get through doorways, go around doorways and things. If you've ever done any of those drills or had any training like that, it's always very interesting. And things are never what you expect them to be. So obviously I can't hold both of them up at once, and I guess I'm getting older and I don't feel like I can handle holding them both. Oh, I guess I could pick them up and hold them up like this. So there you go. That's the Henry. And of course, the Henry's a little pricier. It's definitely a more expensive, probably, if you're interested in that. But they both have the flexibility of shooting 38 special plus P and 357, and that's a bonus too, because it can be easier on your budget when you go to the range. You should also shoot, whatever you're going to use in it normally. You should always train with the ammo that you think you're going to use. It's nice to have those target rounds just when you want to do some plinking as well. So that's these. So you can see the girth is a little different on the Henry. It's just a different kind of setup. And of course, if you look at the barrels, this one's got this nice octagon, the other one's got the nice stainless. So just something to think about. The optics I put on there were relatively inexpensive, so that's a plus. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And as Desert Boy always says, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye now.